this is what we did with you guys. So what we do with every company. And you're seeing this now on our side of the table, seeing us working with new companies. But basically, we come in and what we want to do is look at a benchmark. So we take some workflow, right? And let's say this workflow starts here and ends here. Let's just call this let's say this is a signed retained case. And let's say this is like initial contact. I'll just call IC. And there's a bunch of work that gets done in between. And what we do is we say, okay, let's launch what we call a sequence, which involves interacting with a potential client and also interacting with internal systems, whether that be CRMs, case management systems, document management systems, Slack channels, whatever. And we teach what we call a digital employee to do some percentage of this work. Let's say it's this percent. So let's say digital employee does all of this and then hands off to human intaker here at this point. And what we want to see is like, if this process, usually this process has some sort of success metric or some sort of KPI. It could be throughput, it could be qualified percentage, it could be conversion percentage, could be time to get done, whatever it might be. So basically look at like, what is the KPI for this? And that becomes our benchmark. And so what we're looking for is this benchmark of a given workflow. And then we'll say, okay, we're going to automate, let's say 50% of it with call this sequence number 1. So we might have a sequence, we usually give it a name. And rather than just like deploying it, our process is, and we do this in the pilot phase, is like, let's deploy this with just a tiny amount of people, like a small cohort, let's say 10 people. And so we just run 10 people through this. And let's say you have, 500 people a month that go through this workflow. We're just going to run 10 people through it and see how it goes. 99% of the time, something goes wrong. And so we've got auditability baked into our product where we can understand why every decision was made by a digital teammate, which allows us to then quickly make a change and then run another cohort through. So then we run another 10 people through. And usually we see a performance improvement. And then if that performance improvement looks good, we'll say, okay, let's run 40 people through this and see how that goes. And maybe there's a few more little changes we make some iterations, and then we're like, all right, let's run 100 people through it. And what we're doing is we're iterating to get to what we call a stabilization point. And stabilization is where this sequence, and the sequence, again, it's just like an end-to-end sequence of work that is done by a digital teammate. And this sequence is running at or above this preset performance benchmark. And so it can take us a little while to get there. And we just run on small cohorts until we have confidence to start deploying at a larger and larger scale. And then we'll sometimes start taking like a percentage of all people that go through this. And then we start increasing that percentage until we get to 100%. And so I think that's maybe the process you're talking about, is this sort of iterative approach to deploying a digital teammate and training that digital teammate to do a given sequence of work. Is that right?
Yeah, having a clear learning phase period where you're making sure that it's meeting a specific standard before just setting us off was very helpful. Also, I remember the ability to scale in increments where I remember us going, okay, it's on 10%, it's on 20%, let's do 50%. That was something different, also very reassuring and helpful for directors who are, maybe scared of AI or hesitant of the process, being able to take those small baby steps. That made everything a lot easier for us.
So another thing that people talk about is like this fear of the robotic voice and like, oh, the AI doesn't sound like a human. Um, we've had some learnings about this that I want to share, but I'm curious, like, what are your perspectives on this? And what have you seen just around like AI voices in general in the testing and work you've done?
Yeah, so at this point, I have a lot of friends in the legal space, and I told them how we started working with you guys, how we managed to successfully bring on this AI intaker, and how it's been helping us reach sign up numbers, higher than we thought we could get to. And more frequently than not, they respond with, "Oh, I've seen those AI companies. They don't work. They sound so fake. I've never come across one that actually works." So, yeah, I remember, and then I wanted to get your perspective on it, and I asked you, I said, w what is the biggest piece of resistance that you see?" And you said that there a lot of times you just hear back that people believe that they prefer human intakers, or that human intakers will convert better. Um, so yeah, so that led us down this path of, is that true? You know, w why is there that belief? I think it does stem from the fact that there were a lot of AI companies that we even tried that brought on these promises that, didn't work out well for us. So I think a lot of legal companies now have written off AI companies, as, they don't work. They're fake, and they don't actually produce what we need.